Hello there, everyone. It's me, and it's him.
Hello.
We're here, and well,
The quiz.
yeah, sure, let's go with that. For this night only, we are.
Yay.
Well, yeah, I look back to young innocent me from Open Bar the other night when we hadn't yet seen Barbie and we were just speculating on what this movie would be, and yeah, it turns out all our speculation was exactly correct.
So,
It's
one thing
horrendous.
I do want to clarify, I saw some comments being like, it's fucked up that you've talked so much about the movie and you haven't even seen it. It's like, well, I only ever, as long with the other guys, reacted to the plot synopsis on Wikipedia, which is trusted to be 100% accurate, and turns out it is, by the way, and just general sentiments from other people. That's all we went on. And I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, it's a lot worse than expected. I actually
Yeah.
ended up seeing it, and holy shit, that was bad.
It was quite the experience. I mean, you'll if you guys are watching this at this point, you'll have probably seen my review on my main channel. So I guess I've given my thoughts there. I'm not going to bore you guys with it again because the more I think about that movie, the more I despair for the future of humanity. But hey ho, we did have loads of super chats from the other night, so I think we should focus on them and have a bit of fun with them. What do you
I am
say?
inclined to agree.
Yeah, I bet they're all probably focused
Or
on
Bobby
Barbie as
related.
well.
Yay.
Anyway, I'll try. Objectively, a cat says the story of modern Hollywood is the story of the reigns of Castamere. And who are you? The proud lord said. Then I must bow so low. That's very true, actually. Yeah, they have sunk low.
God, I love that song.
Yeah, it's good. Nightmares in Paradise says, I just posted a vid recommending Sunshine from 2007, only to discover that Drinker beat me to it. Another great film where Cillian Murphy plays a nuclear physicist. That was a good film. I enjoyed Sunshine, and yeah, I didn't just beat you to it. I mean, my review went out like 6 months ago, but
It's a
yeah,
good one.
people have been at me for ages to review that one, and I finally got round
Isn't
to
the
it.
premise they're replacing the sun's batteries, basically?
Yeah, they basically drop a giant nuclear bomb into it to restart the fusion in its core.
But something goes wrong.
Yeah, well, they sent a previous mission to do it and they lost contact with it, and it's like, oh, where did they end up? What happened to them? And then you find out, don't you? But was it Danny Boyle who directed that?
I
I
believe
think it
so,
was.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
an interesting choice. Not a guy I would normally associate with like sci-fi like that, but hey,
isn't
did
that
good.
the Adagio in D minor is the song in that film, and it gets used for fucking everything. Everyone
Yeah,
stole it.
it got used in Wonder Woman
It
1984.
did. Oh,
What a really inappropriate use of that song.
I remember people being like, whatever, it's a good song. It's like, that's not how that works. You don't just like play a good song whenever you want a good song to play. It's not
Yeah, like
storytelling.
I mean, the Star Wars theme tune is an awesome tune, but I wouldn't want to see it in like the Transformers movie or something, you know?
Yeah, feels like that'd be a little weird.
Yeah. Jay's Salty Taint says, Happy Open Bar Day. Weekend unofficially started. Well, I think we're going to make it official now. Thursday is when the weekend really begins,
Yay.
as far as Open Bar is concerned. Das Pooch says, R.I.P. Kevin Mitnick died of pancreatic cancer at 59 and sadly left behind a pregnant wife. Thanks for all you did, Rockstar07. Nice. And yeah, R.I.P. to Kevin. Jim says, late. This is some Gary behavior. It was. We're sorry. Yeah. Life worked against us that evening because we actually started half an hour late as well. Like, normally we start at 9, we started at 9:30, and we're late even for that. So, these things happen. Latonya Jackson says, Elon Musk should buy Star Wars and make it public domain. Do it, Elon. Masked Jackal says, Hey Drinker, thanks for your reviews. You saved me a lot of money I'd have wasted on theatres. Though Hollywood is a moral leper colony, the only films I'm looking forward to is Oppenheimer and unironically The Meg. Yes, The Meg.
Why not? Yeah.
Sure,
That movie's
go
not
for
gonna
it.
fuck around. It's just gonna be action that's dumb, and that's it.
Yeah. I have seen Oppenheimer, and I'll save most of my thoughts for my main review, because I don't want to spoil it for Mauer yet. But I will say I kind of had a lot of my hopes pinned on that movie for this summer. It was going to kind of redeem Hollywood for me a little bit.
I already read your tweet, buddy. I know what you thought.
Yeah. Well, oh, Christopher Nolan, someone needs to rein you in a little bit, sir. They need to rein you in. JS Pena says late and cooming. Yeah, well, I know. What goes on behind the scenes is none of your damn business, sir. Mystic Puma says, who is the Marvels aimed at? No one has seen the TV shows. Captain Marvel hasn't appeared since Endgame, and Danvers isn't established. I reckon 42 million opens. I have no idea what that movie will do. I mean,
Gotta be shit though.
it'll be shit. But like, if it taps into that same spirit as Barbie, who the fuck knows what this film could do?
Could it?
Could
I
be
don't know, like
2 billion.
that would be one that I would just refuse to believe. It's like it's got to do worse than Ant-Man. It has to. There's no way it could do better than Ant-Man.
I think, yeah, if it gets anywhere near 500 million, I'd be surprised because this movie's just got nothing to recommend it. Mr. Pikmin says Pikmin 4 releases tomorrow. Okay, cool.
Alrighty.
Best of luck. Avatar Soul says, I just watched Indiana's Joan and the Dick Taste of Dick Cheese. To wash the taste out, I read the final book of the Jack West Jr. series from Australian author Matthew Riley. Nice. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, man. Remember Indiana Jones? That was a thing for about a week, and that's just like fallen off the map. It's like no longer even in the public consciousness anymore.
Yeah.
Damn. Weakest Link says, Drinker, you must be totally sick of politely taking thousands of recommendations, so I won't be doing that. Nice. I won't be recommending Deadwood at all, or its incredibly written characters. Won't do it. Cheers. See? You had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you mean? He didn't recommend anything. What
He
a
didn't,
chat.
yeah, no, he didn't recommend Deadwood. Jay Salty Saint says the open bar intro is the official song of Thursday. Yeah. We need to claim back Thursday and make it an awesome day. It doesn't have much of a personality by itself. It needs to have more. Now it's open bar day.
Yeah.
Timmy04 says, what did you guys think when you turned 18? And what was your final year of high school like? Shit. What did I think when I turned 18? I'd already been drinking for a few years before that, so it didn't make much difference there. I'd passed my driving test by that point, despite all the drinking. So turning 18 didn't seem like a massive like leap or a milestone for me. Like my life was pretty much the same. And yeah, the last year of high school was great, man. Like it was just like you're in comfort zone territory by that point. Like if you've been there the whole time, you've been there for 6 years, and yeah, like you know everyone, you're pretty comfortable. Yeah, I enjoyed my final year of high school. It was good fun.
Same on the whole drinking thing. Um, 18 wasn't like oh my god, I can drink more now. It was more of a, well, I guess it's official.
Yeah.
Because fuck, I got away with. I passed for 18 when I was like fucking 15. It was great. Like
yeah. I was kind of in the same
So-
boat. It's like being quite tall and stuff. It's like yeah.
yeah.
You look older than you are. So it's
And when you're
fine. There
dealing
was
with people who
also-
just can't be asked the card as well, they're just like,
there was always a few bars and stuff in the area where it's like that you knew that the owners just didn't give a fuck about age ratings, so they would just let you in. That was good stuff. Horse Lover Fat says, now I am become Barbie girl, the inhabitant of a Barbie world. Yeah.
all right.
The destroyer of movies. Ghost of Aces says, did you lads see that recently, as Sound of Freedom is crushing the latest Disney trash, a ton of theatres start having issues in only Sound of Freedom showing rooms? Broken AC, sound issues, lights left on, fire scares. I've heard the conspiracy theories and stuff. Like, I imagine there's always going to be a certain number of technical problems in any cinemas. Like, if you're going to look at it on a countrywide level, across thousands of theaters, some of them are going to have problems, but yeah, they seem to be showing up an awful lot more than average with Sound of Freedom, or it's getting reported more, so it is a bit weird. It just seems a bit pointless because ultimately people have already gone in and paid for their tickets, so you know,
Yeah, you can
the
get
films
refunds
made
and
them-
shit if that happens, right?
I guess, or just get a rescreening.
Well, I mean, the people will want to see it again, so
Yeah.
yeah, maybe both. Maybe that's what you owe someone is a refund and another ticket.
Yeah. Slick Gossip says, love your interview with Russell Brand. After seeing the Barbie reviews, surely Mattel can't be happy. Could turn out to be their Bud Light moment.
I don't
I
think
mean,
they're gonna care if they're making that much money.
I mean, yeah, you have to look at it in the wider context, I suppose, where it's like the amount of money this film is going to make is going to be a drop in the ocean compared to what they make from their actual dolls. Like, it
True.
must be mind-boggling how many Barbie dolls are sold every month.
I just don't think people are talking about Barbie the way that we talk about it. Like, it's kind of amazing because from the trailers and then just from tweets and zeitgeist stuff, I didn't know what I was going into, really. Because even with what everyone has said, even with the Wikipedia summary, I was still like, what is this going to be? What am I dealing with? And then I see it and it's like, what the fuck? And like, I don't know how many people have that reaction instead of just, huh, that was kind of weird. I mean, yeah, fun, I guess.
It's not often a movie blindsides me like that, but that one really did.
Yeah.
Pyro Ronpa says, "Hello, gents and Doggo. I'm curious, what's been your biggest rage on video or live stream, and biggest laugh on a video or live stream?"
The biggest
Oh,
laugh is
Christ.
Isle of Man, for sure. I was
Yeah.
drunk as fuck, and I hadn't seen that flag before, and I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
I think the most I've laughed was it was not that long ago actually. It was when we were talking about the whale and you made some comment about drunk people can pick things up off the ground, and I don't know why, but it just
You
absolutely ended me.
you mean the fat people? 'Cause
Oh, it's fat people, yeah, sorry. I don't know why. It just absolutely got me.
it's a struggle.
Yeah, but rage, the most angry that we've, I guess, collectively
Hmm.
been. I don't recall being ever particularly angry on a live stream before. Like it's more just like we're laughing and
Because yeah, a lot
riffing on
of
things.
rage, quote unquote, especially from me. I'm doing it knowing like hopefully I'm entertaining here and I'm fun. I being like legitimately angry. I don't know how many times I've even had that. Like, I'm ready for the internet to give me all kinds of crazy shit these days.
Hmm.
Legitimate anger. It's probably when playing a game and something goes wrong and I've had to like chill myself out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in my reviews, like Rings of Power would probably have been a big one, just because like I'm a big fan of Tolkien, and so to see what happened to that was pretty rage inducing. So
Yeah.
it could be something like that, I guess. Confucius says, "Hello, you loquacious, liquored up lads. Just rewatched Sin City from 2005 and was wondering what your thoughts were on it. Pretty good comic adaptation. Would recommend it with enthusiasm." Yeah, I
I
like
remember
Sin
enjoying
City.
it a whole bunch. I haven't seen it in a while, but like stylistically speaking, it's Robert Rodriguez, right?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
it's basically like the structure of Pulp Fiction, like a bunch of like interconnected stories with like a loose overarching thread tying them all together, but done in the style of like a straight up comic book.
hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I liked it. I like the visual style. I like the pretty much all the stories I found pretty interesting within it. So
Hmm.
didn't think much of the sequel. I don't remember that making much of an impression on me.
That one, The Spirit. Or Sin City 2, is it? Oh no, Sin City 2, of
Yes,
course. Yeah,
yeah,
for a
yeah,
second there, I was like, I completely forgot that existed.
yeah.
Yes,
Everyone
that
does.
is a thing. Yeah.
Nico 40k says, Drinker and Molly, have either of one of you seen Unleashed, the 2005 Jet Li action flick also starring Morgan Freeman?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think I've seen it either. Sorry, man. Alistair says, this message has been removed due to white privilege. Well, I hope you've recognized your privilege now, sir.
Yeah.
Gun- Gunstar1 says, cheers to the panel and the mighty drinker. You alright, pal? Having a wee dram of Buffalo Trace in your honor. Good choice. Great to see. Going to see Oppenheimer at 5 p.m. PST. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you very much, man, and I hope you enjoyed Oppenheimer, all 57 hours of it. Yeah, it's quite the movie. But yeah, thanks, mate. Cisco Castillo says, like you, I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil games, and while I do agree that 5 needs to be remade, I feel that before Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica should be remade first. What say you to this? Am I wrong? Oh, those are interesting thoughts. Um, Code Veronica is such a fucking weird like chapter in the Resident Evil franchise. I don't know, Muller, if you've even played much of it.
Don't think I did. Um,
It's it's that
part of what's
awkward.
part of what's weird about this for me is that remaking isn't necessarily that I want to remake the ones that are good. RE5 I think is ripe for remaking because it wasn't too great.
Yeah.
Like, let's make it better, you know?
I think you could probably do a lot with Code Veronica because, from a technical perspective, it was a really weird one where it was kind of this halfway house between the pre-rendered backgrounds of like the original trilogy and then the fully like 3D over the shoulder stuff of
Mm,
Resident Evil 4. It was just like the technology wasn't quite there yet, and like the character movements are really stiff and awkward and unnatural. The story's really goofy. The combat's not very satisfying because it's still really based around the tank controls style, you know,
right.
which doesn't really lend itself to like fast-paced action. And so, yeah, I think if you remade that in the modern style, you could probably have quite a bit of fun with it. I don't know about the Ashfords though; they're fucking goofy villains, like. But yeah, you could do something with that. And I do have a soft spot for Resident Evil Zero. It's like one of those games that pretty much the whole world has forgotten even existed, but I liked it. It was just done around that same time as the Resident Evil remake, and the backgrounds are gorgeous. Like they really like perfected the art of doing like pre-rendered backgrounds by that point.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well it fits into the chronology of the series. Like Rebecca Chambers goes from being like this kick-ass, you know, like absolute boss of a soldier by the end of that game, and then transitions straight into Resident Evil and just becomes a useless moron again. This is a bit contradictory, but yeah, sure. T1S says Gollum taught us to lock balls, King Kong taught us to aim for the bushes, and Fat Geralt taught us to always give 100% no matter the size of your foe. True inspirations to a lot of them.
True.
That's a great lesson to take from Geralt, yeah. Vino says, Reaper, you've become my favorite reviewer on YouTube. Keep calling out the BS and being hilarious. Yeah, I'm sure he will. He's doing good stuff. Stybeck B says, you want to experience the best space opera in form of video game? Play Mass Effect series. I want to hear the hot takes from Drinker. I will get round to that because they're remaking it, aren't they? Mass
I
Effect.
thought they already did, didn't they? Mass Effect?
I'm not sure. I don't keep up with it. Probably.
I think they
Yeah,
remastered.
probably.
I don't know.
Lord Trinan says, I'm hearing that Barbie is making the infamous man bashing and girl power themes of Ghostbusters 2016 look tame in comparison. Yikes. Oh yeah. 100%.
I mean, yeah.
I would watch Ghostbusters 2016 twice rather than
Ghostbusters
watch that.
2016 is mainly just terrible jokes.
Yeah.
That's mainly what it does.
I mean, the men are dumb in it, but it's like, I didn't get quite the same sense that it fucking
Well, the funny
hates
thing
them.
is, like, Chris Hemsworth's character is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, then
It's
again,
like,
like, if I had to pick a favorite character from Barbie, it probably would have been Ken. Like,
yeah,
I
that's
thought
fair.
Ryan Gosling was really good, and like when he goes into boss mode, I was like, oh, this guy's actually kind of awesome. Honeylock says, shout out to the real strong women who are constantly humiliated by woke, strong, in quotation marks, women. I want a woman to have a reason to step on me, not just cause women. Okay. TGV Monster says, Drinker, are you a fan of Silent Hill 2? And if not, play it because it's a masterpiece of a game. What do you think I was doing back in the day? Come on, played Silent Hill 2. Play the OG version before the remake if it comes out. Yeah, I don't know what the story is on that remake actually, but yeah, I remember the original on the PlayStation 2. Damn, that was quite the experience. Brace for Gaming says, Drinker, you inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. You're motivating useless drunks like me to be productive across the planet. From Canada. Thank you, man. And
Yay.
yeah, best of luck to you. I love to hear people, you know, giving it a go and doing well. It's nice to know. KP Luki says, have you guys seen the newest Dune trailer? I've never been more excited for a movie after a trailer. It looks like it might be the best movie this year. It could well be at this point, yeah. Again, I
Well,
suspect it's not going to do huge numbers at the box office, but I hope it's a good film.
what is it against? It would be, I'm assuming for you, it would be against John Wick 4 and Dead Reckoning would be an Extraction 2.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, yeah, very action-heavy movies, but yeah, I suppose that's the best point of comparison.
What else has there been that you'd say is, Sound of Freedom, maybe?
Sisu was
Sisu?
good.
It is all action, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Other stuff that I've reviewed, like the menu and stuff, that's older stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that could be it.
Oh.
The Whale, was that this year or last year? That was last year.
Oh, that was last year. Well, it gets confusing, right? Because it gets released like way ahead in Cannes or whatever, and then it eventually releases to the world. I actually don't know what the release date's considered for that.
Yeah. John Farrelly says, pick a director for Ryan Drake film. It has to be Ryan Johnson, JJ, or Taika Waititi.
Ooh,
You motherfucker.
oh,
I,
that's tough, isn't it?
I think if I had to pick between them, it would probably be JJ. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Ryan.
Ryan's gonna want to fuck with your story completely.
Yeah, Taika's just going to turn it into a joke.
Yeah,
JJ,
Tiger
I
won't give a
think,
shit.
yeah, and JJ likely would produce a fairly shit movie, but like he would at least try to
And I
do
think
it
if you're on
justice.
set, you might be able to keep things in line with the script, maybe. Give him a
Yeah,
little
and
bit of...
it would probably look good. The action scenes would probably be okay. So there's
Yeah.
something there, I suppose. Tobias Nexus says the last time Disney made a good male was Nick Wilde in Zootopia from 2016. He's fairly intelligent and forces Judy to see past her own biases. Damn. So that's like 7 years ago. Yeah, Kyle Vernon says, guess who's directing the new Chronicles of Narnia movie? Greta Gerwig. They're about to ruin C.S. Lewis like they did with Tolkien. Yeah, I mean, I never gave much of a fuck about Chronicles of Narnia, but I do recognize it was a pretty culturally impactful series. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not excited about that. Marla's non-threatening unit says second Barbie trailer ended with a self-love joke and body positivity Barbie. This obviously millennial women's Barbie. My daughter watches the Dreamhouse Barbie show on Netflix, which is actually funny. Yeah, I mean it's probably like good-natured as well, which is not what this movie is. So yeah. Thing is, I didn't mind all the different Barbies and like the body positivity one. There's like one in a wheelchair and stuff because it's like, well, that's what the dolls are like, I guess. Yeah,
Mysteriously missing for the Kens, though.
yeah, it's weird that there's no fat Kens there. There's Alan, I
Strange.
suppose. I never
Well,
quite
Alan
got
was
what they were.
funny. Just as an isolated joke. But that
Yeah,
has nothing to do with anything like writing wise. It's just look, it's Michael Cera and he's called Alan. It's like huh.
yeah. It's like a joke, eh? White Fox says the reality is that we're in a culture war and movies won't stop being bad because good means problematic to modern Hollywood. I'm starting to feel that way, yeah. Alex K says the marketing team kind of capitalized on the literally me meme with Ryan Gosling. He was the centerpiece of every trailer to the movie. I mean, I'm kind of not surprised because he's probably a bigger star than Margot Robbie.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I mean I'm not trying to be mean to Margot Robbie at all, but he's a better actor than she is. He's amazing. Like he's been in shit tons of things.
I mean, she's pretty good. I'll give her that. But she's not a box office draw, and I don't mean that harshly against her. But like, I can't think of a single movie that she's headlined that has done well at the box office. She's been in
Um,
movies like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff, but she wasn't the star of them.
yeah, because she's clearly got the potential to do all kinds of shit, but like all the movies that she does headline are shit.
Yeah. Well, I think Birds of Prey really derailed her career for a while. I think that was meant to be her big
I think you could
like
argue
breakthrough
Harley
role.
Quinn derailed her career.
Yeah.
What a mistake, you know?
Yeah. Her and Jared Leto must really regret being
I
in
don't know how
Suicide
Jared Leto
Squad.
feels about anything. He's a bit of a strange man.
Noah Sprague Studios says hashtag Ken Lives Matter. They do indeed, yeah. Metal Demon says if the Barbie movie fails, I guarantee they will find a way to blame men. I don't think it's going to fail. That's the sad
Uh,
thing.
no, what's the budget for this thing? Was it like 100 million?
145.
I think yeah, in a couple of days it's already going to be reaching profit point.
I mean, I would be interested in what they spent on marketing because I feel like they have marketed the shit out of this film. Like they probably spent more than the production budget on it. There has been adverts, posters, fucking like things on YouTube everywhere for Barbie.
Hmm.
And that might, push the overall budget up fairly high, but
Yeah,
it could
maybe.
be. But yeah, either way, like it's gonna have a massive opening weekends. Be very interested to see how the second weekend goes. Ahmed Khan says July 21st, a tale of two box office bombs. Seems not. Even yeah, we were talking earlier. Like Oppenheimer is overperforming as well. Like I don't think that was expected to get a huge opening weekend, but it's had like 80 million already. So It's been pretty good. Magnus Lord says, what smeghead doesn't turn their bloody phone off? Well, George, apparently. Jester of Roanoke says, Critical Doggo showing that he's part of the patriarchy. I know, we all felt oppressed by him. He was just trying to assert dominance over the whole live stream. John Farrelly says, Mauler, review Star Wars Rise of Skywalker as Chris Stuckman. It should take you about 30 seconds, I would imagine.
I thought they meant like a parody video. I would be tempted to do that. That would be really funny. Like I spend like, it's like a 15-minute video, but 5 minutes of it is talking about J.J. Abrams and how he's made films before, and just start slowly naming them.
Could you really go all in and just read off the Wikipedia plot summary as well?
But like out of order, so that it comes. It's transformative, you see.
Command Mana says, I just wanted to look at Margot's shoes and feet. Okay, well, knock yourself out, man. Fiction Theorizer says, I saw Margot Robbie's involvement, the lines aimed at her male counterpart and the guy in the dress. I knew what this trash would be long in advance. Seems like no one else did, that's the problem. Zilla Universe says, reason why Barbie is going to do well is the memes. Yeah. Okay. David Brennan says, Drinker, I take issue with your indie video. The dialect of Dundee is nowhere near as incomprehensible as the Dial of Destiny. Hope you're well, mate. I don't know, man. I've had a few nights out there where it was pretty bad. Zilla Universe says, reason why Barbie is going to do well is the memes. Alright, just same one again. Daily Dose says, I would give an ungodly amount of money to see Ken take over Barbie Land and then execute Order 66 on all the Barbies. That would be quite funny, actually. It's just this mass genocide. Also says, Hi Rags, bring Sitch and Adam on.
Could do.
Jan Javi says, I expected it with Greta Gerwig. I really disliked what she did with Little Women. I've heard that she's going to direct Chronicles of Narnia reboot. Really hope she doesn't ruin that. It's a favourite. Well, if this movie's anything to go by, strap yourself in, because it's going to be a tough one.
Yep.
Ricardo Berovides says, do you gents remember the Simpsons episode where Lisa makes a feminist Malibu Stacy and the doll bombs because real girls want to be mums and models, not engineers and truck drivers? This movie will bomb in week 2.
We'll see.
It's a shame we won't see the results by the time we do the next open bar, but wow, yeah. I kind of hope it does bomb. Dearest says, the cast need to have the cast need to have the press nail them with questions concerning their fathers, grandfathers, brothers, and sons, and why they hate them so much. I don't think it's the cast. I think I'd be interested to hear Greta Gerwig's take on it. Some man has done a lot of damage to her at some point in life. Satiris Pyrobases says, easy arc was Barbie fighting to be whatever she wants to be and then realizing she had similar imposing narrow view of Ken as the real world does of her. It's easy if you're not a hellbent ideologue. Yes. How easy would that have been? You could have done something pretty good with that. Mark Kearney says, Barbie likes the 9- line though. Okay. Alex Darby says, Drinker, I just finished reading Dark Harvest. Couldn't put it down and finished it in an 11-hour overnight go. Nice. Truly a fantastic piece of entertainment. Can you comment on any future writing efforts? Well, I'm glad you read the book, man. And yeah, like the main focus for me right now is getting Rogue Elements done, like the short film. That's going to be starting in approximately 1 week. They're going to be shooting that. So I'm going to be out to see some of it get done. And yeah, I just want to help try and guide that through to completion, and then we'll see where we are. Now I'll have a bit of headspace to do a bit more writing, hopefully, because it's been a while since I've written a book. I'd like to do more. Odd Jobs Hat says, the Barbie movie just sounds like the reverse story of the Stepford Wives. A little bit, yeah. Margie M says, great live. Nostalgia is driving ticket sales. I mean, maybe there'll be a lot of, I guess, grown women who played with Barbies as kids. That'll be something. Sandwiches with Mayonnaise says, the BBC, the real BBC, or Kathleen Kennedy's FUPA? I pick the real BBC because I would happily spend time with them.
Yay.
For the Emperor says, Shadiversity has already seen and reviewed Barbie, and according to him, it's everything you've said and more. Yes, I can vouch for that. It really is. Cannon Folderall says, I swear you need to stop clutching pearls over this. From your description, the film's message is that the matriarchy only works in fantasy or toyland. Cheers. No, that's not the message of this film. You sweet summer child, you. I might suggest you watch it and then see how you feel about that statement. Lord Trinan says, fun idea. In Barbie 2, she goes back to the real world and her personality changes to like darkness from Konosuba. Woke heads will explode. Grand Darkfang says, the saddest thing about this film is that Ryan Gosling, the Sigma male, could not save it. I mean, yeah, he can only work with what he has, I suppose. Feeling Dangerous says, so my girlfriend wants to see this Barbie movie. Should I die on that hill and damn the consequences? Yeah, just don't go. Your life will be better without it. Amra the Australian says, Barbie will be played in the re-education camps.
Ooh.
Kaylee says, not a family movie, especially when the final joke scene is Barbie going to a gynecologist in the real world. Yeah, that's meant to be hilarious, apparently. I'm not sure what's hilarious about a gynecologist, but sure, I guess. I'm sure women just laugh their asses off every time they have to go in there. Another gynecologist visit, eh? Dio Martinez says, all Barbie needed to be was a story about an independent superwoman who can and does do tons of things that discovers love and family after meeting Ken and a sister named Skipper. Okay.
All right.
Cirrhosis of Liver says, you had on a Scouse and a Kiwi, two groups of people named after food, if you didn't know. Yeah, well, we're all about bringing people together. GCH Pro says, just out of curiosity, why do you guys dislike Dave Filoni? I know he worked with George and he seems to be respectful to the source material, but I've heard you guys trash him. Am I missing something?
That word seems is doing a lot of work there, huh? I'm sorry, I mean, what part of, like, I don't know, what part of his work am I supposed to like? Let me know.
I mean, he has this real reputation of just, like, every TV show that he works on is just an excuse to bring in characters from the Clone Wars and stuff that he worked on. Yeah, like, if you're talking about, like, the latest Mando or Boba Fett or anything, yeah, he's not really selling us on his filmmaking abilities, I suppose.
He has a lot of power for the Star Wars television show sort of area, and they've been pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah. Chris Nicholson says, before Grace Randolph came along, I didn't know that an actual human could fall into the uncanny valley. Her thumbnails are fucking weird, man.
Her voice is crazy.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, her and Chris Stuckman, I don't know what people get out of their reviews. Yeah, it's weird. Istari Azul says, Drinker, voice of the zeitgeist. Tell us what Barbie would be like if you wrote it. Would Simo be involved? I mean, I'd put him in, fine, whatever. But yeah, I guess the thrust of the story for me, like, would just be a fairly, like, classic story of, like, okay, she travels from Fantasyland into the real world for whatever reason. Like, it could just be that she gets zapped there, whatever. She gets to see the complexities of the real world, how it initially seems to be overwhelming, and it's not like the idyllic Fantasyland that she comes from. She struggles with, how real people interact with each other. Maybe meets someone in the real world. Perhaps Ken gets jealous or something of it. There's a bit of conflict there, and she ultimately realizes that, she has to progress beyond Barbie Land or something. Like, she maybe wants to make a life for herself in the real world and try being more than just this fantasy figure that she's been created as.
It's nice to look at the world in a narrow view, and it's comfortable, but it's not the truth.
Yeah. Play the High Note says, I reject the criticism that you can't get invested in a character that we know is already dead. Better Call Saul did a great job with this, despite what we already knew from Breaking Bad. You can definitely get invested in characters. Like, you don't need to be tense wondering if they're going to survive. You just have to like them, I suppose.
It helps. Yeah, it's not a point I've ever made. Like, I'm on board with prequels.
Yeah. Mycelium says, have you guys seen Nefarious? What's your opinions?
I'm trying to think of... I don't think I know what that is. Nefarious?
Yeah, hold on. Nefarious. Set in a prison in Oklahoma on the day of the execution of a serial killer. A psychiatrist is called in to interview the killer to determine if he is... Right. Okay. So, yeah, on the day of his execution, a convicted serial killer gets a psychiatric evaluation during which he claims that he is a demon and further claims that before their time is over, the psychiatrist will commit 3 murders of his own.
Neat.
I've not seen it, but I like the premise. Sounds pretty cool.
Oh, Glenn Beck is in it for some reason.
Okay. Guardian Fortress says, Sound of Freedom is not the Streisand effect, it's the Hogwarts Legacy effect. That's interesting, yeah. The more you try to ban it. Vlad Kalinic says, Drinker, Tatiana doesn't love you. She's only using you for your money. You take that back, sir.
Wow.
She says she's going to pay me back every penny that I've owed her, that I've paid to her.
Mm-hmm.
Tonwin says, look at how they praise Cuties, which did weird things with children, and how Sound of Freedom is being treated like now. They are clearly nasty people. It's interesting. It's interesting, the dichotomy there. Charles Hurst says, hello, gents, and Smokey. Have any of you seen Old Henry with Tim Blake Nelson and Stephen Dorff? Highly recommend if you haven't. Old Henry. No, I've heard about that, though.
Not
I haven't seen it. Ahmed Khan says, plan to review The Creator? I don't think so, no.
I've seen trailers for it, but nothing that's sparked my interest yet.
Yep. Kevin says, what are your thoughts on the Wonka trailer? I just don't care about that fucking movie. Yeah, I'm not interested in more Wonka films. Ant-Man says, Drinker, I saw Oppenheimer. It's absolutely sensational. Saw it last night and can safely say it's the best biopic since The Social Network. Cillian Murphy, RDJ, and Emily Blunt are all amazing. Yep, they all give fantastic performances. Won't take that away from them. I think probably the first 2 hours are the best by far. The final hour of the movie felt a bit unnecessary. I don't really know why it needed to go there, but yeah, overall it's still worth seeing, I think. Fiction Theorizer says, I've heard Mission Impossible is woke, not going. I wouldn't never accuse it of being woke.
The only, like, if you think like a character being brought down to prop up another one, but it's like in this case it would be a woman is brought down to prop up a woman, so.
Frank Zanka says, Drinker, I read your latest book. Maybe you can sign it for me one day. I'm a working feature and episodic line producer. Let me know if you need any help with your film. I do budgets, schedules, etc. Oh, thank you very much for the offer, man. We've actually been lucky enough to get a really good line producer in to work on this. And yeah, we're pretty much ready to go now. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, glad you enjoyed the book. Bullet Sponge says, was talking with a co-worker and he pre-booked tickets to Oppenheimer for IMAX and apparently the cinema was almost sold out, so take that as you will. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely say when I went to see it last night, it was pretty packed. The IMAX showings were all sold out. You couldn't get any tickets at all. It was just the regular showings and even they were pretty busy, so yeah, I think it's doing well. GRS says, if you were to cast your mind back to peak Game of Thrones, and if D&D did not utterly shit the bed, what other IP would you have liked to see them adapt for either a movie or a TV show? At this point, it feels like everything has been already. I just don't know what's left.
I'm not sure, and it feels like a weird question because I don't trust those two, and it's like, yeah, but when you did, and it's like, yeah, but...
It's like, but I don't.
Yeah, it feels a little odd because, like, I don't know, like, I don't want them to get bored randomly and then make shit. And it's like, are they even good without source material? In which case, you know, it's not super reliable.
Ofer Ravid says, when they went down the stairs in the yellow car with Pom chasing them, all I thought was about Vin Diesel chasing a big ball bomb. Yeah, that was a very similar kind of setting, wasn't it? And I can tell you from experience, if you drive a car down a big flight of stairs, it fucks it up big time. Sam Wallace Art says, I was actually on board with Blue Beetle and the family angle to it, and then Batman's a fascist, and I immediately tapped out. They don't respect themselves or our time. Unalived to me. That movie's fucked. That's gonna die on its feet. Sula says, according to Wikipedia, Viola Davis is still Waller. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, she's a good actress.
Well,
Fine with
maybe
that.
they're talking about how Gunn picks and chooses who he's dropping and who he's keeping.
Right. Okay. Garrett Hayden says, "Drink current panel. Would you give a sci-fi drama story with Christian themes a chance if it is well written? I ask because this is the kind of story I'm writing. Since after all, I can only write what I know. I mean, look, you can have any themes or setting you want. If it's a good story, it's a good story. I guess I don't
I
mind too
know
much.
something Drinker really, really likes that has Christian themes in it. Midnight Mass.
There you go. I mean, it's not sci-fi, but you know,
No, but it would prove the point, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah, and it's like that's obviously there's a heavy religious focus on it, but like the purpose of it is to get into the characters. So, yeah. Bender says, "Have you guys read Isom yet? And if so, what is your favorite part?" I'm afraid I haven't because I'm not really a comic book guy. So, yeah, it's not been my thing.
I have
I
not
seem
read it, but I've heard that it's solid as a foundation for the universe. That's what I've seen from. I think Az did Gary review it. I think Az did.
I'm not sure. But he's done his second campaign. It's already at $2 million. So
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, the amount of money that's going into this is incredible. You see the support that's there for it, and it's well deserved. Sam, excuse me, Sam Wallace Art says Hulu and FX getting bought and merged with Apple TV would be an ultimate win. I'll drink to that. Yeah, we'll see what happens there, I suppose. Nick Harrigan artwork says Apple and Amazon always had other huge revenue streams. Disney only ever had entertainment, and now Disney doesn't entertain. Yeah, I mean, well, they had the parks as well, but yeah, even they're not doing that great. So yeah, it's been incredible watching the way this company's like fucking immolated itself over the past few years. I genuinely could never have imagined how much damage they would do to themselves. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Schultz says producers of Sound of Freedom need to send Bob Iger a bottle of Dom and a nice note when their movie crosses 250 million domestic on Labor Day weekend. Also, hail Drinker, Mahler, and guests. Thank you very much. And yeah, let me just check where Sound of Freedom is at now. Because it's not even had an international release. This is the weird thing about it. I don't know if or when it's going to happen. But they really need to get on that because it's just going to get pirated. Okay, yeah, so it's sitting at 124 million.
Wow.
I mean, this has been out since July the 4th, right? And it's holding incredible. It's like basically earning the same amount now as it was doing when it launched. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen anything like that. Derek says, controversial opinion, I prefer Return of the Jedi to A New Hope. Sure, the Ewoks were childish, but I feel that the scenes between Luke, Vader, and the Emperor make up for the film's many flaws. What say you, Mauler?
There's way too many writing flaws in Return of the Jedi for me to consider it above New Hope. I couldn't. I'm sorry. Even though my favorite part of Star Wars is Luke and Vader's confrontation.
Yeah.
And I love the second Death Star run probably more than the first one. I find it so much more engaging. I think that they've, that jump in the way that it's edited and the music and stuff. I get very into it. But the first one feels like A New Hope's trench run and stuff feels a lot more serious. The second one in the third movie feels a lot more adventurous.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's elements, but like all the stuff with Jabba is fucking nonsense.
Yeah, the plan there is nonsensical. But yeah, when I look at just from a technical point of view, right, when I still look at those space battles from Return of the Jedi, I'm like, God, this looks better than a lot of movies getting made today.
Yeah.
For a film that was made in 1983, it's just mind blowing. Bender says, R.I.P. Ray. Rome is the best historical drama ever made. Nice. The Horrific Podcast says, John Kramer puts the A-Team and MacGyver to shame. Accidental Badass says, how do you all feel about the upcoming movie The Last Voyage of the Demeter?
Oh yeah, the trailer for that looked neat.
Cool. Jonas Larson says, Dread was a low-budget movie that turned out great. Yeah, it did. Didn't make much money, but it was a good film. Drosarius says, I remember a courtroom comedy in the US called Night Court. The show still had the actual legal process, was hilarious, and ran for like 9 seasons. Jog on, She-Hulk. Yeah, it's amazing that. Hey, you can actually do some research and learn how the law works. Canon Folderall says Temple of Doom had short round, Dial of Destiny had dummy round. Yeah, true. Renegade Pasta says, why will nobody talk about Dune? Is it too niche? I mean, I think at this point it was just, yeah, there wasn't much to say. We're looking forward to it, I guess.
Do they mean nobody's talking about Dune 2 or Dune 1?
Well, it just says Dune here. I assume he means Dune 2.
Because, yeah, I mean, the trailer's out and people are saying they're looking forward to it. There's not much else to say.
Yeah. 0 Point says, I have never understood the hate for the new Tomb Raider games. Maybe it's because I never saw the movies. People saying Lara isn't hot or on something. She has a good arc, becoming a confident hero by the third. What the fuck? Have you played the third game? She is not a confident hero in that game. Like, they almost got there with the second game, where it's like they have her dual wielding the pistols and it's meant to be this symbolic, like, oh, she's becoming the Tomb Raider now. But then you get to the third game and she's right back to crying and being fucking scared of everything and not knowing what she's doing and apologizing to everyone. It's just, she's stuck on repeat. I don't know why they're saying she's not hot though. She's like, they've done a good work with the character model, but she just doesn't feel anything like Lara Croft. She's just like a complete imposter. Like the original Lara Croft was just cool and, you know, like a femme fatale, but also like a dangerous adventurer all rolled into one. Like that's they don't have that anymore. BRB says, received 8 stitches today and lost my job. Thanks for the stream, gentlemen.
Ooh.
Shit, man. Sorry. Yeah, I hope things bear up for you, mate. Silence, you idiot, says, remember, Barbie almost got banned in the Southeast Asia for having a real-world map where China was given more territory that they didn't actually have. Christ, I know about this. Yeah, it almost got banned. Ethan says, Muller, what is your thesis on what went wrong with Fargo Season 3? And if you haven't watched it, then same question for Sicario 2.
Oh, so Fargo as a show does a lot of coincidental writing, and I think fans of it would say it wouldn't be Fargo without, you know, like, oh, this person bumps into this person, how crazy is that? And they have this and they want that, and you know, that creates scenarios. Like, okay, yeah, I can tolerate that, but like season 1 had great characters in it, and so those contrivances sort of like, you know, they can be part of the course. Season 2 it got way worse, including a crazy fucking moment where like some of the best, I think the main character, he survives something because an alien spaceship happens to fly by and the guy who's about to kill him gets distracted. I remember I was watching that with Rags and he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I know. So like it pushed it too far in season 2, and then season 3 I remember just like barely having any characters I actually liked, and all the contrivances were insane. And it sucks too because Ewan McGregor is in it, David Thewlis, a lot of famous people. I remember wanting to enjoy it so much, but I can't for the life of me remember all my problems with it at this point. I would have forgotten. As for Sicario 2, it's sequelitis. They just tried to recreate what they thought people liked about the first one.
Right.
A lot of it being like, how cool is Benicio del Toro? He even survives getting shot in the face. It's just like, I hated that shit. It was so hard to watch. I never want to see it again.
Rango Pistachio says, hey Critical Drinker, big fan of your work. Are you actually drunk when you make your reviews about films? Because I find it hilarious that a drunk man makes more sense than Hollywood. Well, that's my secret, you see. I'm always drunk. Accident Caller says, nice try, Wokies. No one can take away my adolescent memories of Lara's low-poly Toblerone teats on the PlayStation 1. A lot of boys became men because of Lara Croft. John Stee says, cheers to the panel. What's your favourite drink? Looking forward to your movie, drinker. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing it get filmed shortly. Favourite drink?
Baileys.
Baileys, you child.
Fucking whatever. I like sugar and I like getting drunk. It's the perfect one. Sorry, I don't like piss.
Well, you know, there's other things apart from piss or Baileys. It's like,
no, there is only piss and milkshake.
Yeah, crikey. I mean, obviously, you know, you guys know I'm a fan of whiskies, so there's plenty of them that I've recommended on many live streams. I love me a good Negroni cocktail. Like, it's nice and bitter, just like me, so it suits me well. So yeah, stuff like that. And if I'm having dinner or something, yeah, like a glass of wine goes down a treat. So yeah, it depends on the situation, I suppose. Cosmic Zombie says, I've killed more times than I can count. I've burned worlds, destabilized galaxies, dethroned gods, and I did it without any of them even knowing my name. That's what it means to be the man on the wall, to be the invisible monster who keeps the other monsters at bay. Nick Fury.
Hmm.
What is that from? I don't remember this.
I assume a comic.
So it's not from Secret Invasion or anything.
Oh, it might be, but I haven't seen it. Like
Because that seems like a good line, and it feels like it wouldn't come from Secret Invasion if that's the case.
it's not on the episodes I've seen so far.
Sam Wallace Art says, I like to imagine there was another helicopter on its way to the same prison to rescue someone else's father just as the avalanche starts. Okay. John Whitfield says, she, her, and they, thems. Thank you. Paul Tompkins says, Snow White and the stool chart. Oof. David Lamplow, Dinklage literally got his big break being a dwarf in a fantasy show. You had to say big break, didn't you? I don't understand why he would be against it. Well, seems like Peter Dinklage isn't really about elevating other people above him. It's happened too many times already in his life. Sorry. Taker610 says, 7 dwarves, but you're not all dwarves. So? Yeah, good line from Peter Pan there. Call sign Alucard says, just got on. It's all right now. We can all choose our genitalia on a video game. Baldur's Gate 3. I feel seen now. And I have... What's that? Okay, cheers. Jammy Jam Jars says, hey panel, have you seen the new Napoleon trailer with Ridley Scott and Joaquin Phoenix? As a history buff, I'm so hyped for it. Hope it's good. I have seen it, and it does look good.
Yeah, it looks neat.
So I'm happy with that movie. Taker610, how is the sound editing in Oppenheimer? Well, my ears were kind of sore by the end of it. Yeah. He's always had this weird problem where like the soundtrack can sometimes overwhelm the dialogue, but it doesn't happen as badly as it did in Tenet with this one. But yeah, sometimes it gets really fucking loud. Sam Wallace Art says, Florence Pugh was good in Outlaw King with Chris Pine as Robert the Bruce immediately after the execution of William Wallace. Underrated movie. Yeah, I remember. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think it's quite historically accurate as far as I understand it. Way more than Braveheart ever could hope to be. But yeah, there's not a great like narrative holding it together. It's like the best way I can describe it, the first 30 minutes of that movie are just a bunch of unrelated stuff that happens because it's real historical events, but when it's not really put in context or tied together with a good story, you just feel like you're watching a bunch of historical scenes and not really knowing what they're significant for, you know? It does come together a bit more towards the end, but yeah, Chris Pine plays it really understated to the point where like he barely shows any emotion in the whole film. So again, he's a tough one to root for. Disco Stew says, hey Drinker, did you know Muller's real name is Amanda Hug and Kiss? Can you confirm, Muller?
I mean, I wouldn't want to dox, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Vimarine says, just a big thank you for interesting and unique panel, and of course the critical doggo who really ties the whole group together. I think he does actually, yeah. It's like when he moves, we all stop and watch. Tabitha Provan says, we needed the kindness, joy, and beauty of Barbie, and instead they've given us another agenda-driven bag of vipers. I love Barbie, but I'm out. Well, I agree with you on that one. You should just stay out of it. You'll be happier without this movie. Michael Russell says, Jeremy Allen White would have been a better pick for Wonka. Yeah, fair
How about
play.
we just don't pick anybody?
Yeah. Sean says, would any of you consider old Kratos a good role model? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good father.
I mean, by the time you hit the end of Ragnarok, he's just a really good man. There's not much wrong with him at this point. He's kind of ironed out his flaws.
Yep. Mavdick96 says, you know what needs a sequel? Passion of the Christ. This time it's personal. Somehow Satan returned. Glippy says, why? I ask myself that often. And Dan Rocky, the last one, says, What are your predictions for the return of good movies and the end of agenda-driven garbage? P.S. Not looking forward to the androgynous dwarf gladiator movie. Uh, I mean, if you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said, like, man, kind of feels like things are on the up. We've had a bunch of like successful, actiony movies this year that haven't been agenda driven. They've just been quite good, fun movies. Marvel stuff's dying out. Disney stuff's dying out. They've had a bunch of flops. Seems pretty good. We might be on the right track. And then Barbie comes out, and wow, yeah. It's changed my opinion slightly, but we'll wait and see how it all shakes out. But that's the end of it. That's the last of the super chats, and it's been lovely. I want to thank you guys for all your generosity as always. It's really appreciated, and hopefully we've answered all your questions tonight while we've been doing this. Anything to add more?
No, it's just it's just got me thinking about that Barbie movie. Wandering in my head about it, what it all means.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
get.
suppose we'll find out as time goes on.
Yeah, I'll get a couple more bottles of whiskey down me tonight and hopefully forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that is all we've got for today. So go away now.